bring in Texas Senator Ted Cruz with more on this. The president pointed out that 1/3 of all the new COVID cases are in Florida or Texas, suggesting that the lack of mask mandates is going to help the spread, saying that they either need to lead or get out of the way. With the cases spiking, Senator, does he have a point?
You know, there's a Yiddish word called chutzpah, and I think Joe Biden is embodying that word right now. We just had news breaking today that in the last several months, the Biden administration has released over 7,000 illegal aliens who were COVID positive just in one Texas city, in the city of McAllen in the Rio Grande Valley. Last week, the Biden administration released over 1,500 illegal aliens in the McAllen who were COVID positive. The McAllen mayor just reported on that today. And I got to say, that is unacceptable, and they keep doing it. And, you know, Joe Biden likes to talk about this pandemic. Well, I'll tell you what, the election of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris was a super spreader event because their open border is endangering not just the people of Texas, but people all across the country.
So why do you think the administration feels that it can continue with that message, that somehow they're prioritizing COVID and their response to this pandemic, yet they're letting these migrants flow over the border in record numbers, and many of which are carrying the virus?
Well, I think the corrupt corporate media is their defender and is their apologist. And so you don't see the corrupt corporate media being willing to press the Democrats on it. For over a year, the corrupt corporate media praised New York Governor Andrew Cuomo as the hero of COVID. You know, Anthony Fauci gushed about him. Chris Cuomo on CNN, he and his brother, you know, had these love fests that were just, it was like a bad Saturday Night Live skit of the death of journalism. And you look at what Governor Cuomo did, sending thousands of COVID positive patients into nursing homes where we saw tens of thousands of people lose their life. And then Cuomo's administration, according to his own staffers, covered up and hid the data. You want to talk about a COVID disaster? The bright blue states, New York, New Jersey, were disastrous. On the other hand, Joe Biden and the Democrats hate red states like Texas and Florida, that we reopened, that our economy is booming, that we let our kids go back to school, we let small businesses open up. And there's a reason people are fleeing the blue states and coming to the red states, because we protect people's freedoms. So, of course, Joe Biden is trying to play politics with the pandemic, even while he's releasing COVID positive illegal immigrants by the thousands into the state of Texas.
Senator, I want to ask you about the infrastructure bill, which is making its way through the Senate. You and Raphael Warnock introduced a joint resolution yesterday, an amendment rather, to set aside land for the I-14 corridor, which really does qualify as infrastructure. But I found something else buried in the 2,700-page bill on page 511, this: to test the design, acceptance, implementation, and financial sustainability of a national motor vehicle per mile user fee, and to provide recommendations relating to the adoption and implementation of a national motor vehicle per mile user fee. Are you comfortable with that?
No, I'm not, and I'm going to be a no on this bill. You know, I just came from the Senate Republican lunch, where we had a vigorous knockdown argument, which we've had every day for the past couple of weeks. We've got all the Democrats supporting this bill and a chunk of Republicans. And the case I've been making to the Republicans is the price tag on this so-called bipartisan infrastructure bill is about $1.2 trillion. If that were being offered in exchange for the Democrats' massive $3.5 trillion tax and spend proposal, I could understand the logic of doing the smaller one instead of the massive one. But it's not. The Democrats have made clear they're going to pass this one and then turn around and ram through their massive tax and spend bill right on top of this, which means you're looking at about $5 trillion. You're looking at trillions in new taxes, all while our debt is going through the ceiling and while inflation is rising across the country. What I've been urging Republicans is we shouldn't play a part of this. We should say enough is enough. And you know, it reminds me, roads and bridges are popular, and every advocate of this proposal says, well, gosh, people want roads and bridges. And it reminds me of the old swindler who says, hey, I'll sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. They're selling the same bridge over and over and over again. This bill has about $100 billion for roads and bridges. You know what? If they want to just pass that, $100 billion for roads and bridges, I bet you we could get 90+ senators to agree with that if we could throw the remaining $4.5 trillion in the trash. But the Democrats don't want to do that, and the Republicans are like Charlie Brown chasing Lucy with the football. We're going to end up falling on our rear ends. I think it's a real mistake.
Last night, Newt Gingrich said Republicans are getting suckered on this.
Yep.
Your response to that?
No, I think that's exactly right. And there's some Republicans who just want to cut a deal. It makes them feel good to cut a deal irrespective of the substance. And I think Nancy Pelosi and AOC are laughing at the Republicans who are going along with this because it is facilitating what is going to be about $7 trillion in new spending by the Biden administration. And there's a reason why at home families in Texas and across the country are seeing the cost of food going up, are seeing the cost of gasoline going up, the cost of lumber going up, the cost of homes going up. And inflation is a cruel tax that hurts everyone, but particularly seniors and those on fixed incomes. And I think we should say enough is enough.
Senator, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Senator. Good to see you. Today marks a year since one of the